Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Pretty good. Thank you. Boys still playing, right? Yeah. What number? Second grade is loaded, right?
Hello and welcome to just the second SLC game of the week of this young season, putting the Arizona State Sun Devils up against the University of California at Berkeley Golden Bears in ASU's first game of the season. I'm expecting a real solid game. As always, I'm Chris Marshall, here joined by ASU beat writer Trey.
Beat writer, broadcaster, whatever you want to call me. Works out fine. I know about as much about ASU lacrosse as anybody.
Yeah, well, that's why we brought you out here. And I know there's been a lot of really good games this weekend. Starting last night, I went to the Chapman University of San Diego game, which is a real blowout. But my first opportunity to see Chapman this season, which is very exciting for me as a Chapman alum. And I'm also excited to see this game, which should be a real close game. I know Cal played University of California Santa Barbara to a real close one-goal game. Santa Barbara always a real solid squad, especially since Coach Allen came back from Towson.
Yeah, and Santa Barbara currently ranked 8th in the country, so to pull close with them was a big game for Cal and a big chance to prove themselves. However, you know they wanted to get the win, and Coach Malone was talking to me before the game and said, "Listen, this team is hungry. They just lost against a top 10 team in overtime, and now they're going to get their chance again to try and beat another top 10 team. So they're coming out here, they're pissed off, they're ready to play."
Yeah, and that's what you have to do, and that's something that Coach Malone really likes to harp on, is how his players may not be the top recruit players, they may not be the best players, but they're hungry and they want to play and they have the right attitude. And those are the kind of players you really need if you want to go a long way in the tournament. You have to have more than talent, you have to have the drive and the heart to go out there and play your best every single minute.
And Chris, after spending time with the team, I can tell you there's this team chemistry on this unit it's almost unmatched. And you look at these guys and the way they're able to mesh together, you know they're ready to play this game. This is their opener. They want to come out and prove to the world that they've got a championship roster put together right now, as they are the number 2 team in the country, and they do have a lot to prove.
Yeah, and as always in these Lacrosse Network broadcasts, we'll be taking your live tweets, questions, comments, anything you got. You want to know about the matchups, you want to know who to look for, you have any personal questions about Trey or myself, feel free to fire away at CMarshallTLN. Again, that's at CMarshallTLN. Let us know what you think. We're happy to answer your questions and maybe even throw a couple shout-outs your way. I know Sweet Gear is right up here in front of me, also here to enjoy the game in this beautiful weather in Southern California. About 74 degrees in Westwood, California. A few clouds in the sky, but other than that, a fantastic day for lacrosse.
Yeah, this is the exact weather you want to see. Actually, in Arizona, it's been colder for the past couple of weeks, so maybe the team's not conditioned to the good weather they're used to out in Arizona.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. If you are conditioned to play in that desert heat, this is kind of even though it's been colder, I mean, this is kind of a vacation. I mean, it's that's always one of the things I know when I played against ASU and we had to play in Tempe. You know, you'd get games to be 105 or more, and it's tough to play there. And especially, I know we played a couple times at Florida State, afternoon games, and it's a huge advantage being able to play at that level.
Yeah, and it does definitely make a difference. for when you're talking about a team. The weather always has an impact in any sporting event, but especially lacrosse. You're outdoors, you're cramped up. But, Chris, the storyline behind this game that a lot of people are talking about, especially in the Tempe area, is the fact that Dylan Westfall is no longer the goalie in net. And, when's the last time you could say that? Or when's the last time you could say a Westfall was not on an ASU team?
It's been since maybe 2007 or before. Yeah. The Westfalls have had a real
Tyler, Ryan, and Dylan.
Yeah, a real good run. And I know Tyler. I remember, suiting up and playing against Tyler, and he was something else, man. I had to shut him off on more than one occasion, and he's a big, athletic, strong kid, and Dylan was exactly the same. You get brothers like that shooting on you, and everything else seems like it's in slow-mo.
Well, and before the game, we were talking about Dylan Westfall's SLC championship game last year, which you guys were on the call for, and the guy looked like he was limping off the field. He was going to be down and out, and with that toughness came back into the game, rallied the team around him, and came out with the win over the Chapman. It was a huge game for ASU. It was a huge performance from him in goal. And one of his last games as a Sun Devil is right there. The goalies shake hands, heading their respective nets. So replacing Dylan Westfall this year is Brandon Propp. And as inexperienced as you can argue this guy is, I believe he's ready to come into this game. I'm watching him in practice. He looks game ready, very calm personality, but when he calls for the intensity of a game, he's ready to go.
And just about ready to go got Zach Handy at the faceoff X, who's extremely good, sophomore out of Foothill, and he wins it to himself, no problem. And one thing I talked to Coach Malone about as they go into the offense, gets it to Cruz, is that they can, with the new rules, have the ability to score 6-7 goals in a quarter. And, you put that, you give up 2, you're talking 10 faceoffs. And it's a good thing that they have that second faceoff guy who was hurt most of last season, but that they have a lot of depth and talent at that position, which is important given the new rules.
Yeah, definitely. And not to mention the fact that they do have that number 1 in Zach Handy. Just a guy who can put himself in position to get any faceoff against anybody in the country.
And here's Logan Quinn, one of the leading scorers from a day ago. Oh, and just off the mark. The shot coming from Straker there, but backed up by Davis. So ASU will maintain possession. And look inside, and that was a great look, just a little off the mark on the pass, but this is their first game of the season, and the ball scooped back to Propp, who scoops it up with no problem and goes right into the clear. Here's Mendoza back to Propp. An ambitious pass coming with the defender with a man on his back, able to pop the ball out as the Cal attackman moving the ball up. A little bit of sloppy play coming from ASU early, but Martinick able to bring the ball across the midline and get it into the box.
And it's interesting hearing these names all over again. While ASU did bring on a ton of freshmen, you hear a lot of familiar names in this offense.
And that's a big save. Quinn with a huge rip, finally able to get the ball in, and there's a great pickup. Garbage goal by Straker. Gets it, turns, shoots immediately. And that's what you have to do if you're on the doorstep. Goal 1-0 ASU.
Well, Justin Straker's the type of guy. He's an attackman. He can get inside and pick up any ground ball, put it in. And typically you're going to see him driving. But in this play right here, just great anticipation from Straker. He was the second leading goal scorer on the team last year. Came up big right there and put ASU on the board early.
Yeah, and that all comes off just field awareness. And you need guys who play on attack to have that kind of field awareness. And that one actually face-off won by Cal. See if they can come up with the ground ball. Looks like Handy's got it. Running down, fighting through the double. Able to get it to Straker. And Coach Malone said they wanted to run today. And looks like that's what they're doing.
Tell you what, this team is more conditioned than anybody during practice. They're running every other play at full speed.
Here's a first look. We're going to get at Finn Wells, the freshman midfielder. And there's Handy hustling off. And there's that first sub we saw coming from the big box. I know Coach Malone said that they're going to be running guys off straight from the end of that enlarged sub box to try and get a little bit of an advantage. And there's right across the crease, big goal. That one by Payson Clark, the senior captain. And there's nothing you can do about that if you're in the goal for the Cal Bears.
And that's just ASU playing the offense they like to play. Payson Clark down low on the receiving end of a pass. It was perfectly executed. And Payson Clark's going to be able to put it home. The senior captain last year was the leading points getter on this team. coming up big right there. 2-0 ASU.
And that's Schladen in the goal for the Bears. And having a little bit of a tough go early. Made a big save against Logan Quinn on a shot. Unable to keep the ball in his stick. But that's two quick ones from right in close. And there's Handy again winning the faceoff. Losing the handle, though, and that's the ground ball put up by Parietti. Wisely passes it back. And the Bears go into their clear. And that one's almost in the goal. And a little bit of a miscommunication there by Schladen and the Bears defenseman. And the ball is going to go straight back to ASU. And that quick whistle, really taking advantage of that, are the Sun Devils, but can't quite come up with it. It's ground ball by Little. You get it up, and the Bears have the ball back. Here comes Hofinga. Back into the offense. Going to need to take a little bit of a break for their defensive players, who I know have to be tired. Been on the defensive side pretty much the entire game here with 11:44 to go in the first quarter.
And being on the defensive side against a team like ASU, constantly rotating and moving, is as tiring as it gets.
Here comes Hofinga. Looks like he has the matchup he wants. He's got the shorty. And that's great defense. Stands him right up.
A big body by Kyle Dennis.
They're working from X. Oh, can't quite get the handle. And ASU is all over him. Looks like they're going to get a slash. And that's going to be a slash going against ASU. This will be our first opportunity to see the extra man squad from the Bears as ASU goes down 1 minute with the penalty going against Nick Mariuma.
And a big chance for Cal right here to try and cut this lead in half. You know, they started out slow, a bit of sloppy play, finally starting to find that groove on the offense.
Here's Cohn. Sloan, we're moving the ball pretty well. I mean, Cal, a tournament team from a year ago out of the WCLL. And there's a shot and a big save by Prop. That's a great step. And Cal opts to just watch it go out as Daniel Cohn will bring the ball in for the Bears. And you can really see the officials trying to do their best on the quick whistle rules going into place. And there's the shot and the goal coming around, just not picked up at all. Sean Hayden, the sophomore attackman, sneaks around the corner, buries the goal up close. And there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do about that if you're Prop.
And you know, it's Brandon Prop right now cannot let his mindset get down. He can't let his morale drop. That was a great goal. I mean, coming from behind the net, Hayden caught the defense off guard, was definitely in the right position at the right time, came up with a goal that makes it 2-1 now. Still ASU leading. And
that's like what we were talking about, you know. It's there's Handy wins it to himself. But playing that the real quick style, I mean, they got caught off guard a little bit by that super quick whistle. This being ASU's first game of the season. Really starting to see how quickly those officials are going to be blowing that whistle.
And that's what Coach Malone was talking about with me before the game, was these quick whistles are going to be in favor of Cal because they've already played 2 games. They've already gotten that game-style situation, and the early jitters are out of their system.
Here's Martinick moving the ball up to Cooper Piquel, who is quite the athlete, over to Logan Quinn. Logan Quinn getting his hands free, takes the shot, and that one's just off the mark. And he doesn't miss very many of those. But like I was saying, Cooper Piquel does it all for Arizona State. I know he played man up, man down, shorty, long pole. There's very few things he can't do. Very athletic, high school All-American basketball player out of Foothill in Orange County, one of the powerhouse programs. Logan Quinn gets the ball, and a huge save. Schladen right in front of that one, and that's just great positioning.
And it's funny you mentioned his basketball skills last night. Team had a little bit of pickup basketball going on.
And no shortage of shots as Piquel gets his hands free again.
But it was actually Kyle Dennis who came up with the championship in the knockout game.
Well, you never know. That's the name of the game with knockout. Just got to get the hot hand. Be interesting to see who wins the 3-point competition tonight at All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, NBA festivities.
Dangerously close to a push in the back there as Clark was going inside. Didn't go down. Shot goes off the back of the goal, and Schladen has the ball.
And Miles Skolnick on defense right there almost sticked the ball into his own net. Close chance there, close call for Cal, but they did escape from it. And now they're going to try to set up this offense again and call another man-up opportunity.
And Plott's doing it himself And going to get called for the offsides, and that's just bad field awareness for the middies. And the quick whistle again, and that's a great heads-up play. That one coming from Clem on the defensive side.
However, Clem didn't see the ball come out, apparently, because he wasn't chasing for it, and Martinek was able to pick it back up.
And right back into that offense with just under 9 minutes to go here in the first. Still a 2-1 lead in favor of the visiting Sun Devils of Arizona State. And again, we're here at the Pac-12 Shootout, live from Westwood, California, on the campus of University of California at Los Angeles. And as always, feel free to send us your tweets, questions, anything you got to us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. And here's Dennis. Gets his left hand, takes a shot, and there's the goal off stick. Doesn't look like Shaden ever saw it. Great shot placement, and that pushes the lead back to 2 at 3-1 for the Sun Devils.
So not only can he win in knockout, he can also shoot pretty well on the field, and that's right there is just a display of the athleticism Kyle Dennis has. He does have size. He's able to play solid defense, but then on the other end of the field, he's able to do it as well. And right there, putting ASU back in a 2-goal lead.
And Handy again taking the face-off. That's his 6th of the quarter. That's a real heads-up play, real hockey little flip pass, able to get it back to Hillier. And Hillier, another one of those athletic guys, and you mentioned this before, and that's solid defense. That one coming from Leggett, and Leggett is all over him. But Hillier able to maintain possession of the ball and get it back into the offensive set.
And so far, aside from an errant pass from John Little, we've seen very good ball control from this ASU defense and offense, everybody on the field.
Yeah, and it's been tough to get a solid look at what Cal's working with. They haven't had a whole lot of opportunities on the offensive end. The one opportunity they really had that was a solid one they scored on, so I wouldn't expect these guys not to be able to score. They just need to make sure that they can get back on the offensive end and hold the ball. They've been playing a lot of defense early on. Here's Dennis again with a look across. There's the rip and the bounce shot just outside. No problem for Schladen as he picks the ball up out of the back of the net.
And freshman Finn Wells gets his first shot off. And it was trying for the grounder. Nice little trick play there, but a little bit off. However, you like to see him coming out, feeling confident and ready to shoot early.
Nice look from McLeod inside. Wide open. There's the lane and the shot and the goal. And just like that, McNaughton, the sophomore attackman for the Bears, cuts the lead back to 1 at 2-1 with 7:04 to go here in the first.
And McNaughton already has 2 goals in the season to make it 3. He puts that one home right there. And Chris, this game is nowhere near out of reach at any point. These teams move so fast in this West Coast style of offense, and you'd love to see teams going back and forth like this. Expect this to be a high-scoring game when it's all said and done.
And here's our first look at the second face-off midi for Arizona State. Miller, who wins it to himself. And Coach Malone said not to expect any drop-off in their second-line face-off, and also to expect him to get some looks if they're scoring a lot of goals, which they are. And that's a great look up the field. See if he can get through. Cookies! The ball is down. What a play. And that's a great ride. And the ball is still down. No one able to pick it up. And finally picked up by the Bears. Lucky not to get a push call there are the Sun Devils as the ball will stay with them out of bounds, out of McLeod's stick.
And a great defensive play there from Carson Ewanek is just knocked the stick right out of the Cal offenseman hands, and that's what you love to see, as keeping the possession for ASU and getting the chance to get back in that goal-scoring mode that they were earlier.
Yeah, just over 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. ASU still holding on to that 1-goal lead, looking to add to it as Logan Quinn asks for the ISO, the one-on-one. Has the LSM, throwing a kayak check. Watch out, gets the ball out. Logan looks like he lost his footing there.
Came in just a bit too quick.
And Cooper Piquel missing the ground ball there, which you don't see happen very often. That's a great ground ball.
Everybody missed that ground ball.
It's Sunkson. Not no one to find. Finally gets the ball over to Reese. And if you're Cal, this isn't the matchup you want, and it looks like they want to talk it over. And looks like a failure to advance. Going against the Bears, unable to get the ball into the box. Rather a timeout by the Golden Bears. Fortunate call as the ball popped out of Reese's stick right before it looked like they would have gotten the call. But able to maintain, and we got a timeout here with 5:37 to go in the first quarter.
And we really haven't seen this Cal offense set it up, patiently wait out things. It's been a quick rotating offense. We saw the breakaway chance from Sandy McNaughton on their last goal, but their first goal came from Sean Hayden coming from behind the net, catching the defense off guard, and it's that rotation, it's that movement, that quickness that this Cal offense has been thriving off of. And the coach is looking to try and create some patient, developing offense that you'd like to see to slow things down, give your defenders a break on their side of the field.
Yeah, and I know that's something that we talked about. I mean, they had that quick whistle on that first goal for the Golden Bears, and he came straight to the goal after they blew the whistle, drew the defenseman, and then was able to find his player at X to bury that goal. And that's a play that you don't think will probably happen again against the Sun Devils, at least today. Now that they're aware of how quickly that whistle is going to go.
And that's something that every team is adjusting to in their first game of this year, is just how fast this game is becoming. And it's great to watch. It's great for the fans to see plays developing as quickly as they are. But it's definitely a transition and it's adjustment for these players in the field that have been playing a slower pace for so long. And as a coach, you try to recreate that in practice, but you never really can.
Well, it looks like living legend Coach Mickey Miles here to take in the festivities.
Coach of the Arizona Wildcats.
Almost didn't recognize him without his boots. But always a fun guy to talk to. Great coach, great guy. Coach of the Lax Cats. And a little ambitious play there coming from Reese as ASU goes right back into the break, and this is where they are very dangerous. And looking, that one just off the mark, but coming inside, barely able to get it to Straker. And just one too many errant passes there coming from Arizona State, but in the right position as the ball goes back to the Golden Bears. Here's McLeod. Schladen. And back to McLeod. Cal really not giving themselves a whole lot of options on the clear here. Need to see more out of their midfielders. And there's a great look inside. That's a great V-cut coming from Parietti. Gets free for his defenseman and gets into the box. Here's Clem. Here with 4:30 to go here in the first. Still just a one-goal lead for Arizona State.
And Cal, since that goal, both of these teams have just been slowing things up. ASU had a chance on their last possession, but besides that, we've seen a lot of turnover-heavy play.
And you can that's a great look inside. Shot, a huge save by Prop. And that one thinking about going in, but Prop gets all over it.
Wow.
And that's an exciting sequence. It looked like that one was going to sneak in. Great reaction save from Prop.
Says Dylan who? Brandon Prop is ready to take the reins right where Dylan Westfall left off, and right there just diving on the ground. It looked like a hockey goal right there, and great goaltending from Prop. I'd say he recorded 2 saves on that chance, getting from both sides, and it's great to see movement from the goaltender in his first game.
Here's Hillier waiting for the offensive look. It looks like they've got an extra man opportunity with the subbing mistake coming from the Golden Bears to see if they can capitalize. Scarano has the ball, opts to hold on to it and go back into the offense as they get their full offensive unit on to the field with Wells coming in through the midfield.
And Zach Scarano's a name we haven't called out much today, but he's always the wingman in the offense. He's getting the pass to set up the assist, and he's one of the captains on the team because of that. He's a very smart player on the field.
And am I right that all of the captains are Brophy Prep graduates?
I believe so. John Little, Payson Clark. And
look inside, can't quite connect. And that's a great ground ball. Takes it, and what a heads-up play from Dennis to get back so he can come across. That's a great team play. I mean, that's something that's very hard to teach. Real heady play coming from Dennis. Here's Davis. Looking inside, and that's great positioning again for the goaltender for the Golden Bears. Getting big. Wells likes his matchup, gets free. But that's great defense and great help defense on the slide coming from McLeod.
And Finn Wells clearly is trying to get in this offense as soon as he possibly can. The freshman already trying to make some moves.
And that's a great save coming from Davis, able to corral the pass from Scarano.
But comes right back with a turnover of his own.
Not so lucky for Clark. Needs stilts for that one.
And Dan Davis in practice yesterday looked a little shaken up, but he's fine. He's on the field. He's ready to play. And one of the things you notice about this ASU team is they really haven't suffered any serious injuries in this offseason. They've been practicing hard, and they're just toughing it through.
Yeah, and just over 90 seconds to go here in this first quarter. Still a one-goal lead for the Sun Devils at 3-2 as Cal gets right back into their offense with Daniel Cohn at X. Looking for the pick. See if they can get something going here. Moves it up to Reese. And Hafinga working on the pole. Nice swim. Gets his hands free. But slide is there.
Not sure why he opted to pass that one instead of looking for the shot. I thought he had an opening if he pulled back.
You know, it could be that that he's right-handed. Always a possibility. Great look inside. There's the shot and the goal, and what a play as Hafinga gets his hands free right on the crease and buries the goal top shelf.
Well, maybe that's why he didn't pull back on that play. He knew he'd have another opportunity on the other side of the field. As Hafinga right there ties this game up at 3. And Cal
right back in this ball game at 3-3, tie ball game, 55 seconds to go here in the first. Zach Handy back out to take the face off for Arizona State. And this is still anyone's game. I mean, very, very tight early on. Cal not getting it disheartened at all by going down too early. And Handy wins it to himself, 50 seconds to go. Let's see if he takes a shot. And that's Clark looking to shoot before he got it in his stick.
But Dan Davis comes up with the ground ball.
Gets around the corner, great double. And Martinick pulling the ball out, probably hoping for the last shot here with 35 seconds to go in the first quarter.
So slowing things up. You have to wonder who's ASU going to look to in this situation. They've got so many guys that can make plays inside. Payson Clark on that left side wing. I'd keep an eye on him.
20 seconds. Holding the ball, 15. See if Martinick, he's got the shorty. I expect to see an early slide here coming from McLeod, who's on the crease, who then bumps down. 6, 5. Got to get something here quickly. Here's Davis, takes the shot, and that's probably not the one they liked or wanted to have as the first quarter comes to an end with a 3-3 tie. And a couple shout-outs here, one coming from Flo Kilmes, wants to explain some of the rules, for example, the quick whistle that we're talking about. And in an effort with some of the other rules, with the stick and no horn and taking away the 5-second grace period for the goalies, in an attempt to speed the game up, the referees are now blowing the whistle a little faster than they would normally. So as soon as you can pick the ball up, if you're an offensive player, the ref can blow the whistle. And so you're going to get a couple extra seconds there, and they're trying to take as much advantage of it as they possibly can. And we got another question here coming from Brian Kelly, LXM Pro and current head coach at Whittier. More of a comment. It's got a picture up on the big screen, and that is pretty sexy. So I'm glad that Brian Kelly is tuning in. Hope we're doing that TV justice. And thanks, everyone, for the comments and questions. Keep them coming. We're happy to hear them. And I'm excited for some more action here in the SLC Game of the Week, live on the Lacrosse Network. As always, I'm Chris Marshall, joined by Trey here from the ASU broadcast program. And I think definitely what Cal's going to have to concentrate on is scoring when they have opportunities in transition. I know that they're probably going to want to try and slow it down and give their defense a little bit of a break, but with the way that ASU is playing as quickly as they are, they're going to need to take advantage of all the opportunities that are sent their way.
Well, and ASU almost forces other teams to play the exact same style as them. You've got to come at them fast and hard, and this is exactly the dilemma that Cal's faced with, and they were able to come away with a breakaway goal in that first quarter. You know they'd like to recreate that situation, while ASU has to try and limit that. You have to get back, have to anticipate as a defense, and it's hard when you're trying to play in one direction and suddenly it's going back the other way, but you have to anticipate.
Yeah, and, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see there's Handy winning it again to himself. And nice flip. That's a great play. To see what they do to try and slow Zach Handy down at the X, because that's on a rope. What a pass to Martinick coming from prop. To slow down Handy, looking inside. And that's that extra pass that we were talking about, and that's a great lift coming from Plotz from the Golden Bears. And it looks like Davis wants Straker wants a tip. Not going to get it. So the Golden Bears bring the ball in. Here's Plotz bringing it up, draws the triple, nowhere to go. And that's a good clear coming from the Golden Bears. Need to get it in the box. As Flood is looking for the corner. And gets it in. And here, 14 minutes to go in the first half. Still 3-3. The Golden Bears are going to settle into their offense.
And you can see the subs, people always running onto the field or off the field as Hillier comes on for Handy right there. And ASU hustling on every substitution.
Here's Cone. Back up to Flood. And Cal looking pretty comfortable in their offense right now. ASU playing way out. Here's Reese. Has a lane. Looked like he was going to draw the double. No slide coming. Schlomer working from X. And 13:21 to go here in the first half. Cal looking to take their first lead of the game. McNaughton. And ASU not giving an inch on the defensive side as Cal looking to dodge the alleys. Pick not there in time as Martinick able to sneak in front of it. Back to Cone. I'm not sure this is the matchup you want if you're Cal. Cone has shown he has the ability to get free, but going against the #1 defenseman. And there's the shot and the garbage goal. Bounce shot, top shelf. What a goal. Has to be the goal of the season so far. And that one coming from Sean Hayden, his second of the game. Whoa.
Sean
Unbelievable.
Hayden, right there, he was caught with a mismatch, out of position defender, had an opening, and Brandon Propp did everything he could to try and save that ball, but a beautiful ground ball or bounce shot ended up going top shelf on Propp. Nothing you could do as a goaltender in that situation, and California has their first lead of the game.
Nearly impossible to get the ball to bounce top shelf on a low to high shot. You aren't going to see very many of those ever. And again, ASU controlling the ball at the faceoff X. And right up to Piquel. And this is a dangerous area for the Bears to get themselves in after just taking the lead. Look inside. Piquel almost gets that one in. A little bit of an ambitious pass looking for Straker. But they're going to keep the ball as the official calls a tip. And here's what we were talking about earlier at the break. No grace period for that goalie to get back in his cage.
And on that last play, Cooper Piquel just...
And there's Schlomer right into his stick. You know, Logan Quinn probably wants that one back. But great positioning from the goaltender for the Golden Bears.
So on 2 shot attempts from ASU in that possession, Cooper Piquel fired over the net way too high. May have been looking for the deflection. And on the second chance...
Here comes Sunkson. He's got a lane. And Cal moving the ball very well, and probably not the angle you were looking for. I would have liked to have seen Hayden take that shot since he's got the hot hand already with 2 goals, half of the offensive output from the Golden Bears.
And Brandon Propp right there reaching to stick out.
And that one, Cohen just harassing Propp, getting him to go in and out of the crease, getting the ball back on the turnover for ASU. And here's Hayden. And Cal opting to slow the ball down a little bit here with 11:40 to go in the first half. Getting pretty quick double. Here's Perrietti. Moving the ball across, finds Cone, and that one just dips on him right at the end. Can't get his body in front of it as the ball goes back to Arizona State. Look for the quick whistle as Martinick brings the ball in. Solid ride coming from the Cal attackman, not allowing him to advance the ball up the field. and forcing them to go into more traditional clear.
Well, and after forcing a turnover in that last play they pulled off in ASU, you know they're trying to continue that, keep that pressure up there. The problem is if ASU's able to break it, they're going to be heading in the other direction pretty fast.
And that's a heads-up play by Wells coming back across. And the midfield play out of Arizona State has just flat out been better than Cal so far. Cal having a little bit trouble on the clears because they haven't been getting the same kind of action from their midfielders cutting back, and even attackmen with the right communication cutting back across the midline to get those passes from the defensemen, really putting them in a pretty tough spot. Here's Davis coming around the corner, and that ties the game up just like that. Using his pace to his advantage, loses the defender and shoots high to high, and not a whole lot you're going to be able to do with that one if you're Sladen. And
Dan Davis showing off his speed right there, finishing with an accurate toss on net, and just a great finish for Dan Davis as he records his first goal of the season. And Dan Davis last year was a big instrumental part of this offense. You know he's trying to get righted back where he left off. And
10:31 to go, 4-4 game. Really turning into a fantastic game. Neither team giving an inch right now as Cal fights back to get into the game. And there's a great flip pass coming from Hayden. And Leggett able to run it down, and that's one of the first face-off wins, and that one's going to go off of ASU and stay with the Bears as Cone has a one-on-one. Looking to make something happen here. Trying to muscle his way in. Cross-crease pass. Here's Reese. Reese gets his hands free. Cookie's great trail check. And the ball's going back to Arizona State. And that one coming from John Little, the senior captain. Really showing why he's a senior and why he's a captain.
Well, and John Little right there made up for a play when he had accidentally tipped the ground ball out of bounds to set ASU on their defensive side. That's right there. Kyle Dennis faked a drive inside, pulled back. Kyle Dennis already with one unassisted goal on the day. You know he's trying to showcase his offensive ability. He's known as the ball controller, and he's built so well that you know he's going to get in position.
Let's quit getting his hands free. Nice look across and a huge save. What a save. Sladen is everywhere right now.
And that was Payson Clark inside right there, putting pressure on the goaltender. And you know Payson thought he'd have a goal in that one. That's
a big hit. Fortunate not to get a call there. And Sladen loses the handle. Picked up again by Clark. Another garbage goal coming from ASU, but they still count the same. What a play.
Right there's a goalie. When you sign on, you're not expected to know how to control the ball too well sometimes. And right there, Payson Clark making him pay as Sladen could not hold on to that. He picked off the pass, and Clark came up with the loose ball and put it home easy.
And that one coming from a little bit of sloppy play from the Cal defenseman behind the goal, losing the handle. And a lot of hustle coming from Dan Davis, able to keep possession of that ball on the ground.
So Payson Clark starting off the year right with 2 goals already.
And it looked like that one might have been a trip. Zach Handy got away with one as the ball is still down and finally picked up as Cal goes onto the run. Here's Reese. Can't quite find his man. As the ball is down, they've got to do a better job in transition. We've seen that they can score, but look that ball into your stick if you're the Golden Bears. There's Ian Connell, the number 1 from ASU, gets the ball back to Prop as Prop walks it up.
And that Cal transition in the last play was set up from the face-off loss by Handy, and it seems like the team is almost expecting him to win every face-off, so much so that when he loses, it's always going to be a breakaway the other direction. And that's a tough thing to deal with because there's nobody in the world can win every face-off draw.
That's true. It's true. But if anyone's going to come close, it's going to be these face-off duo tandem from Arizona State. Because, I mean, they are the beneficiaries of being able to go against each other every day, which will just make them better. And I think the competition, when you have a guy like that, especially a guy like Handy, who really prides himself on being a face-off guy, that'll push both of them to be better players.
Oh yeah, and whenever I get out to a practice, that's what I'm watching more than anything else. The face-off drills, it's intensity, and the thing is, you're right. These two guys are so capable. Both of them would be easily the number one on any other team, and they just happen to play together, and they're okay with it. They challenge each other, they push each other. It's exciting to see what these guys do in the face-off circle, and it's huge for this ASU program. Face-offs are one of the most underrated positions in this sport.
Yeah, and that's what's curious to me about trying to change some of these rules that make a specialized player almost obsolete, or that they're trying to. And it's difficult. But I mean, face-offs are, you see that coming from the Michigan teams that won all those games a few years ago here at the MCLA level. They won 70 or 80% of all their face-offs, and that's big. And I know I like to talk about this game a lot, but there was a top 10 Santa Barbara team that went to Michigan to play and got shut out. They were a top 10 team, and they lost 21-0 at Michigan because they didn't win a single face-off. And it's stuff like that makes you realize how important those positions really are. It looks like we got another question. This one coming from Mauricio Casillas. Wants to know if Trey is nervous.
Good question there, Mauricio. Was a little bit nervous to start the call, feeling a little more calm now. It's actually one of our writers from back home. Bit of an inside joke, I guess. But. And
another tweet coming from Flo. Thanks for doing a great job on the cast, and thanks for tuning in. We wouldn't be here without you, and we're happy to be here. And also Andres Romero, thanks for the follow. And back to the action. 7:55 to go here in the first quarter. 5-4. The lead in favor of Arizona State. Here's Paquel getting free, and there's the shot. Off stick, high. Nothing you can do about that if you're Schladen. Perfectly placed shot, and that pushes the lead back to 2, matching their largest lead of the game so far.
And ASU has proven that when they score once, they can score in bunches, as right there, taking it down the length of the field and setting up the offense quickly, getting back into the rotation and figuring it out. Offensively, this team, you always have to keep your eye on pretty much every player because they're all so capable of getting the job done.
Yeah, and that's very true. And if you're Cal, you need to be aware of not only these players taking the shots, and that's going to be a procedure call going against Handy, which you don't see very often. And part of the new rules, he doesn't have to leave the field when there's a procedure call going against him on the face-off. But if he gets 3, then it's going to be a 30-second technical. And I saw that in practice last night as Driver from Chapman got 3 procedure penalties in the second half and had to sit 30 seconds. And again, feel free to send us your tweets, comments as Clem has the ball. Nice look. Can't quite come up with it. Looks like Cohen's going to be able to run it down. But send us your tweets, comments, questions, anything you got. You want to know about the game. You want to know about the MCLA. You want to know about some of those players. You just want us to say hello to your son. Feel free to send us a tweet at CMarshallTLN. Again, that's at CMarshallTLN, and I'm happy to answer your questions, Trey, as well. And looks like Cal's going to keep possession as Hayden brings the ball in from X. Here's Schlomer. Schlomer trying to use his speed to his advantage. Little not giving him much. Here's Clem. Back to Schlomer. 6:40 to go in the first half. Schlomer looked like he was going to get free there. It's great footwork coming from Little to stay in front of him. Here's Flood. And Cal looking very comfortable. About as comfortable as I've seen them look in their offense all day. Schlomer drawing the double. Or gets the ball from Flood after he drew the double. And ASU looks like they're quick to draw that, go into that double team. Cal's got to take advantage of that as Hayden loses the handle but able to pick the ball back up. Hayden getting free, gets inside. Nice trail check, able to knock that ball out. Looks like he's going to get a hold, so they're going to keep the ball. Pretty fortunate call there. That's the kind of call that can go either way. But that's where the hustle pays off. If you get your hands free, you're probably going to score a goal. And if not, you're going to get the hold. So
constantly moving on offense is a big part of that. And Cal, as you said, looking like they're finally finding this offensive rhythm, and they'd like to stick with it. But Coach Malone for ASU is going to try to call some defensive schemes to shake that up as quickly as it started.
Here's Sofinga, who's got a goal tonight, and that's a great poke check. trying to get his hands free. And again, the quick double, and it pays off this time. Able to disrupt the shot coming from Hofinga. Still, ball staying with the Golden Bears as it's backed up by Hayden.
And that shot came at a cost as Hillier collided with him on that. And rough hit to take, but that's what you pay for when you take that shot.
There's Carrietti losing the ball, taking a big hit on the slide. See if Hofinga can pick the ball up. Ball still down. And that's a great man ball play coming from Hillier as he's able to keep the Cal player off the ball. And then on a rope, crossfield pass. Here comes Ewanek. Sorry. On the play, able to move the ball up to Dennis. And with 5 minutes to go, Arizona looking to slow the ball down just a little bit, get their offensive unit onto the field. Looks like their second line. And try and push their lead to 3, the biggest of the game. And Dennis gets free on the V-cut, takes the shot, and the goal, off-stick, bounce shot, textbook goal from Dennis, pushing the lead to 3, their largest of the game. And just like that, Arizona State really putting the pressure on the Golden Bears.
And now the Golden Bears starting to back up a little and realize that this ASU offense is simply relentless. They'll keep it coming at you all day long. And you start to think of those turnovers that Cal's creating in their offensive zone. Those are going to come back to bite you. And for ASU, just continuing to put the pressure on offensively. And you know they'd like to get another one before this half is over.
Absolutely. And there you have it. Handy goes right into the fast break. Not known for his speed, opts to drop the ball back in. Not a bad call when you're up 3 goals here with 4.5 to go in the first half.
I remember the first ASU game I called back in last year against Colorado. Zach Handy, in a comeback effort, had actually won the draw, drove the length of the field, came up with one of the nicest goals I saw all year. So he's definitely offensively capable. And it catches defenses off guard when you've got a face-off specialist like Handy going the length.
And there's the double coming from Cal. Got to see more from Reese on that one. If the pole is coming up to help you with the double, and Davis thinking about the shot before he's able to get it, Straker able to come in there and strip the ball away from the goalie. I think he's going to get an interference, and that ball's going to go to the Golden Bears.
And again, that quick whistle as ASU looking to put some pressure on deep on Cal.
Here's McLeod. Moves the ball up, and there's a nice cutback from Leggett. And that's just something we haven't seen. They're open on the fast break. He's got a lane, takes the shot, and that one right into the chest of Connell. Really taking one for the team there. But and that's dangerously close to a push in the back. See which way this ball is going to go. Didn't see who touched it last. And it looks like it's going to go back ASU's way. Official not sure how he wanted to call that one until right at the very last minute there. And looks like we've got a tweet coming from Sid Marion, D.C., and the pronunciation is Plouts. So thank you for that for Cal's number 35, the defenseman. Happy for your feedback, comments, anything you got. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. There's Quinn getting free and taking the shot. Probably not what you want to see if you're Coach Malone going with the low-to-low, but still pretty effective for Quinn. There's a great look inside for Davis. Davis with a quick shot. What a kick save. And Schladen really keeping Cal in the game right now, making a couple huge saves.
And the crowd reacting on that one is probably one of the nice saves we've seen all day, especially from Schladen, who's been holding his own, and you might not see it from the goals on the board right now, but this ASU offense has been putting pressure on since the opening whistle, and he's been holding his own in net.
And just under 3 minutes to go in the first half, 3-goal lead at 7-4 for the Sun Devils as Cal tries to make something happen here in their settled offense. And Cone gets free, takes the shot, and that one just over the inside corner. Great positioning again from Prop. Here's Clem. Up to Hayden. Hayden working on the short. You have to think this is the matchup they want to try and exploit. Clem back to Hayden. 2:04 in the first half. And nice switch from Connell. There's the shot, and eaten up by Prop. Not a whole lot on that one coming from Leggett. And no problem for Prop. making another save here with 1:45 to go in the first half.
And it's worth noting, Chris, that I have not seen the number 26 out there, Mitchell Drake. He was a big part in that scrimmage against Whittier for ASU.
And nice heads-up play. That one coming from Plouts. Plouts.
I believe it's Plout.
Plouts. There we go. I'm doing my best here. And Cal's going to want to talk it over. Got a minute and 17 seconds to go here in the first half. Still a 3-goal lead. You know, Cal would love to take one back. Still a little bit of that momentum from the Sun Devils going into the second half. And I know this is something I talked to Coach Malone about before the game started, is his belief in the horses that he's got. I mean, he's out there talking about how it doesn't matter what happens in the first half because his guys are going to be able to run longer, harder, and faster than anyone they play this season because of the shape they're in and the talent and depth they have on the sideline.
And that's something that the team prides itself on, is the depth and the conditioning on the field. And no matter who they put out there, even if, you know, having a rough off day, they're going to be able to keep running each way. And that's a huge difference maker in these games when you're trying to respond. If you're Cal and you're trying to come back from a deficit, it's hard to do against a team that's keeping the Jets hot and continuing to set this offense up at the same speed they were setting it up at the start of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough to keep up. I mean, you got guys, you know, that are so athletic. I mean, you got Cooper Piquel and Martinick. Those guys are tough to stay with no matter who you are. And then you've got some extra depth coming. It's a real tough matchup for any team. And I know ASU is one of my early picks this season to make a real deep run. I mean, I think there's five or six teams that have the capability, at least from what I've seen now and on paper, to be a real contender to win the national championship. You know, you got ASU, and, you know, I'm going to make the homer pick and say Chapman, but only because I saw them play last night very well, and I'm going to try and make it to the Oregon game this afternoon.
Final score is 17-2. Right?
That's right, 17-2. Could have just as easily been 30. But that's a product of the new game as well.
Yep.
And, you know, Michigan State, I think, is going to have a real solid squad this year. I think it might be a little bit of an off year for BYU, but you never know with those guys. And obviously Colorado State, they're the champs. And I think Colorado's going to have a real solid squad. So, I mean, those are my 5 picks to make some noise in the postseason.
You know, one of the names you did not mention in that was Cal Poly. At that 5th spot in the rankings right now, and it's surprising because a lot of people have kind of been overlooking Cal Poly, and I think the Devils have to worry about that because they are traveling to Minnesota and they'll take on Cal Poly. That's next weekend in a clash of top 5 teams. So Arizona State has to keep their eye out for that matchup. But first off, they've got to make it through this weekend. They've got Cal right here, San Diego State tomorrow before they're heading to Minnesota next week.
And that's a turnover coming from McNaughton. With 62 seconds to go, Arizona State's going to get the ball back, and that's not what you want to see if you're the coaching staff over at Cal.
Surprised they didn't try to run the clock out, ensure that ASU could not get another possession.
Here's Clark. Looks it up to Piquel. 45 seconds left. You can hear the yellow call from the sideline, looking to sub in their first-line guys. 37 seconds left. Looks like they're going to do just what you talked about, hold the ball and try and get that last shot. Make sure they don't give Cal an opportunity to steal one back before the end of the half. There's Piquel, has to like this matchup. Anytime you can get a shorty on Piquel, you're going to have to try and take advantage of it. A little bit in a 1-4 tilt here, really trying to take advantage of that mismatch. Not sure why they're coming over with the pick here from Martinick, unless they want to try and find him with the ball. You see Clark sneaking around at X. Here's Martinick. And that's a great pick from McLeod. 2-1, and that's going to do it here for the first half of play. Arizona State unable to even get a shot off there at the end of the game. You know, I was kind of thinking that Martinick was going to look for Piquel after drawing the double. Couldn't find him, looking inside on a pretty ambitious pass for Clark, picked off by McLeod. And Arizona State's going to go into the half with a 3-goal lead at 7-4. And always a reminder, I'm here with Trey. I'm Chris Marshall. Please send us your tweets, comments, questions, anything you got to me on Twitter at CMarshallTLN. We'll be right back. You're watching the Lacrosse Network.
working for, all right? Let's put in one more good day.
Yeah, boss!
Let's get better. Let's be focused. Game day mentality, all right?
Yeah.
Here we go, boys. Together on 3. 1, 2, 3, together! My name's Alex Poldy from Superior, Colorado. Play TAC. I'm majoring in operations and information management, getting a degree in business. I'm actually from Superior, so it's like 10 minutes out of Boulder, and I grew up here and I loved it. Every day waking up and seeing those mountains, it really, kind of implants in my brain that I went to the right place. I've been playing lacrosse since sixth grade. I don't know the math, but that's a long time. Wait, how many years is that? 7? 6th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. 11 years. I've been playing lacrosse for 11 years. Wow. I'm old. My favorite thing about CU is the location. I love, being in Boulder. The people here are very relaxed. Every day I get to see the mountains, which are beautiful. I'm 30 minutes away from Denver, so I can go watch Avs games whenever I want. An hour and a half from 5-star skiing resorts. It's the best place in the world.
Where do I even start to begin? 2-point line is a fantastic addition to pro lacrosse. I played in a couple tournaments with it. It's a lot of fun, and those guys can straight up shoot. It does stretch defenses in the MLL. I just had a light blowout. That was crazy.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That's like the Super Bowl.
It is. It's kind of like my own personal.
You got Beyonce over there or what?
There's a lot.
Yeah, no. Beyonce, we got all kinds of stuff going on.
He is in
My face is a
Brooklyn.
little different. Yeah, Power Surge, New Orleans. You never know.
Wow.
Where do I...
There's Kyle Harrison with a rip, low-to-low worm burner. And what are you going to do about that? I mean, that's just a great play from one of the greatest players ever to play the game. One of the greatest players ever to play the game. One of the greatest players ever to play the game. Kyle Harrison, good board.
Right back out. That's how you have to shoot the ball.
Shoot and score. You talk about ripping it. It's Kyle Harrison.
He's going stick side high right to the upper corner. Wow. Shake and bake, top chat.
That's Kyle Harrison with number 5, tearing the net off the goal literally. I've never seen that in a
Refs, we're going to need some string or tape or something. Holy cow.
Lacrosse, so I don't really. Most people just watch to support me. Yeah.
Camera, new headsets.
Have you talked to your wrestler, like how they feel?
All right, welcome back. Just about ready to get to the second half of action here, where the Arizona State Sun Devils are taking on the University of California at Berkeley Golden Bears. And just like that, Handy back to his old tricks, winning the ball to himself. And there's Prop on a rope, and that one picked off by Cal as Schlomer looks to go back in there, and that one was on a real rope. Could have put a little more height under that one. Probably would have hit his player right in stride. Pretty ambitious look for Prop, and Cal makes him pay at the beginning of the second half as they have the first offensive possession.
And right now it's a question of how Cal can respond. And, facing a deficit of 3 goals is nothing insurmountable. There's definitely a chance to overcome that. But with a team like ASU, you open the door and the floodgates open with it. So you cannot allow this team to find that same offensive groove they had at the end of that first half.
And there's Connell all over Cone. And Cone did a great job of fighting off a double. Great field awareness from the Cal Bear attackman. Here, 14 minutes to go in the third. Nice look inside. There's the shot and the quick goal. And just like that, the Bears are back on top. And it looked like McNaughton with the goal for the Golden Bears, cutting the lead back to 2 at 7-5 at 13:56 to go in the third.
So Sandy McNaughton coming up with his second goal. His first was in a breakaway back in the first quarter that made it a 3-2 game. Now 7-5 on the scoreboard. So big chance for AS or for Cal to start chipping away at this lead. It doesn't have to all happen at once. There's plenty of time left in this game, but you'd like to start building that momentum in your favor in response to ASU's quickness.
Yeah, and a couple shout-outs from some tweets we got right in the halftime after this face-off. That one won by Cal and picked up by Tucker Chambers, who's got to watch his back. And fantastic play coming from the attack of Arizona State. Heads-up play, finds Handy. Handy looking for someone, has a lane, using that body to protect his stick, and gets it over to Straker. We'll get to these tweets here in a second. But no time to breathe. If you're Cal Bears, if you win that play, you got to have better field awareness because Arizona State is going to be running at you from every direction.
And no time to breathe if you're a broadcaster on the call. Things happen so fast now in this sport. It's an exciting development as you can tell. ASU just trying to find their bearings with this new change.
And nice look, and there's Piquel rolling back out of it. Finds Martinick. Martinick with not a whole lot of room to breathe, able to flip it to Logan. Quinn. Here's Martinick, has a shorty. We're going to get inside. Nice look across to Davis. Can't get his hands free. Quinn thinks about it, opts to pull it back out. And I had the opportunity to talk to some of the officials at halftime, and there have already been 3 of those 30-second stall calls. So I tried to get a little bit of a heads up on what the hand signal for that looks like, so I can try and keep you guys informed when those calls are happening.
Definitely subtle calls, because I didn't see him getting called down there, except maybe on one occasion.
Oh, it looks like the ball's going to stay with Arizona State. Interesting call there. I might have gone the other way on the off-ball push as Clark gets it across, and that is a very, very soft call. And Piquel scores the goal, 5-hole, on the near post. And you've got to do more than that if you're Schladen. He's been playing great, and that's a real tough goal to give up, to push the lead back to 3 at 8-5 for Arizona State.
And Schladen right there, caught off guard. I don't think he was expecting Cooper Piquel to take the shot so soon. Usually decides to pull back and play it around the horn. Right there, said, I'm going straight with it. Shot it on impact in Schladen, caught off guard, and lets that one get through his legs. So ASU back on top by 3, and the momentum, more importantly, back in their favor.
Yeah, and that's going to wipe out the flag, and that's going to be a procedure going against Cal, as it looked like the wing jumped, and Arizona State's going to keep the ball. And you cannot make mistakes like that when you're down 3 goals to a team that's as explosive as Arizona State. Nice pick as Davis tries to get free. Good switch coming from Cal, as Chambers able to stay with him. Here's Scarano. Haven't called his number much today, but always a dangerous player on the field.
Yeah, and as I was saying before, Scarano's the guy. He's always going to get touches. He's always going to be drawing attention from the defense, and that's what's important, to open up space for his teammates.
Logan Quinn looks like he's running into a triple. Make that a double, flips it back to Dennis. Gets the ball back, has a lane, takes the rip, and a big-time save from Schladen. Right back in the game, got to have a short memory. And a lot of speed by Sunkson as he gets free. Looks like he wants to go to the goal. Nice flip as Cohn's able to run that down. And that's a real great hustle play coming from the Cal defenseman. Here's Schlomer. 10:59 to go in the third. Still a 3-goal lead at 8-5 for Arizona State. And again, thanks to everyone for their tweets and comments and questions. We will definitely get to those shortly, and keep them coming. We're always happy to hear from you. Inside, here's McNaughton. Back to Cohn.
Cal
looking to get his hands
work
free.
The offense with his patience and setup. Hasn't worked too well for them today. Usually they work better when they're moving quickly, but at the end of that half, they found a little bit of a groove on that offensive side, and they'll try to keep it going against Brandon Propp.
And here's Dennis shutting off the attackman after he got the switch. Here's Parietti working on the shorty. Takes the rip, and that one just off the mark. Backed up by Cal, possession shot. And Schlomer going to bring the ball in. And Schlomer working on the shorty. is going to be the matchup. Giving up a lot of size, but very quick. Hayden, dangerous, looking for a hat trick. Cuts inside, takes a shot in the goal. And toss your hats because Hayden's got 3.
Sean Hayden right there. The spin move won him that as he got around the defender right inside, and there was no chance for Prop to react. He'd expected his defender to hold his own on the outside and clearly couldn't contain him. Sean Hayden, a playmaker on this Cal team. He's recorded half their goals as they cut the lead to 2.
And we got a shout out to Craig Fairfowl, who's tuning in from Montreal, Canada, who says that the quick whistle is a pretty common thing in Canada. And echoing that same sentiment is, I guess it's Chad again, saying that that's an international rule. So he's happy to see that the college game is following in the footsteps of the FIL. And I think it's good for the game. I like to see the speed. Obviously, there's anytime there's any kind of change, there's going to be some sort of argument about it. But definitely, you can see the pace of the game has gone not only from the players on the field, but from the amount of time that the games are taking now.
And, Chris, it ups the standard for the level of athleticism required to play this game. And these guys are constantly having to hustle. And the more athletic requirement you have in a game, the more intense it's going to be, just because that's what sports and competitive nature is all about. And right now, these guys, you can tell, have been conditioning. Both teams have been playing this up-tempo style all game long.
And then Straker getting free, takes the shot, and another big save by Schladen. I mean, he is really, really doing great.
Straker taking a bit of an off-angle shot right there. And Schladen, you're right, Chris, and Schladen been playing great. And that's a testament, I think, to ASU's offense when he's still giving up 8 goals despite playing pretty well.
And that's really textbook defense on McLeod, getting all over that bottom hand. Able to get the ball to Cone, and Connell's all over him. It looked like Wells wanted to get in there with the double, but Cone, a very smart player. And able to get past Connell, steps on his stick, looking inside, and there's number 4, pays the price. But Hayden putting the team on his back, though.
And that all starts with Ian Connell and allowing himself to get beaten on the outside right there. It's never going to be easy. And Coach Malone exchanging a few words with him right now, as that's just it's defensive awareness. And what it comes down to is you cannot allow that guy to blow by you like that. Has created an opening, created a mismatch down low. Defender had to choose between either the recipient of the pass or the passer himself, and ended up giving up the goal to Cal. So now an 8-7 game. Chris, this is right back in Cal's reach.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the parents came over to help us out. Looks like it's Cohen. So we'll be sure to get that fixed for you. Glad you're watching. Always happy to hear any feedback that you guys have. We're here doing our best, but any way we can improve the broadcast in any way is definitely something we want to do. So thanks for your feedback and thanks for your viewership. And looks like SLC President Matt Holman tuning in. Want to throw a special thanks from Matt Holman and the SLC to TVX Video and to TLN for streaming the game. And just about ready to get back into the action. Here's Logan Quinn working on the shorty. Draws the quick double. Great handle. Nice look. And there's a shot just like that coming from Payson Clark, the senior. Boom, 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 goal.
Payson Clark fired that one so quickly. I don't know if Slade never saw him get it off, as that's textbook offense right there. You got the passes, you got the distribution, and Payson Clark with the finish. Who better than the senior captain, as he's already had, I believe that's his 3rd goal, puts him in a hat-trick situation as well.
And here's a shout-out to Connor McKeon and the rest of the LCC Lax Factory players, alums playing here for both sides. I know I played with a bunch of LCC guys, and former LCC coach Dallas Hartley coaching at my alma mater. So always good to see those guys doing well. And thanks for tuning in. And another shout out going to Alexander Adler, who's watching. And yes, the shoes are pink. And thanks for tuning in. Always happy to have you tune in. Big fan of the program. Alex, actually had an opportunity to meet him in Arizona. Really great kid. Happy I had that opportunity. And Cal going back on offense, trying to cut the lead back to 1. Aside from their short time, fortunate not to get. Oh, and there it is. There's Laundry on the field. Going to get called for the trip. That's an unfortunate call going against Arizona State, but you got to throw the flag.
And actually, I think it was a slashing call that was made on that one, as the flag did come late, and I think it was contact to the head that was really what drew the flag in the first place. Either way, it's going to put Cal on the extra man opportunity.
Yeah, it's great look there and insight there, Trey. That was a slash going against Hilliard. As we're going to get another look at the extra man unit for the Golden Bears. Scoring on their first opportunity, haven't scored yet, and that's not how you do it. It's a fantastic pickoff play coming from Mendoza. Here comes Piquel.
And Brandon Propp is not in net for the Sun Devils right now.
So he isn't.
It's number 35.
It's Preston Anderson.
Preston Anderson going to be playing in net right now. That's a bit of a surprising change right there. As Preston Anderson, the freshman, he's got a massive body, and coach already trying to try out some new goalies here. So Brandon Propp on the bench.
And, that's interesting to see because Propp was hot. But Coach Malone obviously with a lot of confidence in every player on the sideline.
And that goes to show, Chris, this team has depth at every position, including goaltender.
A great look inside coming from Piquel, and just off the mark. Nice lift coming from Sunkson to disrupt the shot coming from Straker. And McLeod loses his footing. Unbelievable awareness, able to get his stick up. And another fantastic save coming from Schladen on the shot coming from Piquel, who's had a couple goals himself. And Cal's maintaining possession. Got to make sure to stay out of the crease. Schladen loses the handle. And again, just harassing the goalies, Arizona State. McLeod unable to get the ball. Schladen's just got to give it a run. There it is, launching the Gilman down the field, and that's a heads-up play as Cohen tries to save it, dives into the sideline. Got to get back on the field with that quick whistle. And lucky that Connell wasn't able to pick that ball up and start running. Logan Quinn comes back to get it. And Martinick coming around way past this guy. Using that speed, looking inside for Quinn. Quinn takes the shot. Unbelievable save. And that's all reaction. And that ball's going to go out and go back to the Bears. And that should have been 2 goals right there on those last 2 shots coming from Arizona State. Schladen really wanting to keep his team in the game and doing a great job of it.
And this goaltender is definitely the difference maker for Cal. Otherwise, this game is way out of reach already, as he's been holding them in it. He's been containing the goals that he can, and that's a pretty big number. And
what a ride for Clark. I mean, you see these, then there's a quick whistle right away, and you see these guys, Straker getting free, looking inside to Davis. Davis takes a shot, another huge save. That was a kick save.
Wow.
That's one of the best saves I've ever seen.
His foot got up so high and so quickly, as just you talk about reaction. Schladen right there is putting on a show.
Standing on his head, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
But what a play.
Bit of a circus act right there. His foot got up so high.
And Cal has got to start feeding off of some of the energy coming from between the pipes. I mean, they have guys who can put the ball in the net. I mean, Cohen is a great player. Same with Hayden. And they need to make the most of their opportunities. Cannot have any more unforced errors if you're the Golden Bears.
And for Cal, that's almost been the story of the game, is these turnovers on their offensive side, as they've definitely had opportunities and they've had the possession count right. They just haven't really been able to convert with these turnovers and these mistakes.
Yeah, and a shout out to Eddie tuning in, enjoying the game. Glad you're watching, and looks like you're doing a great job staying laxy. As Cal able to clear the ball, one of their best clears of the day, and it's a good time to start clearing the ball well. I can tell you that much. Down 2 goals, just under 3 minutes to go in the third. This game is far from over. Here's Safinga. Probably not the matchup they're looking for. Reese has the shorty. Arizona State's going to go quick into that double. Nice ball movement coming from the Golden Bears. Look inside. Cohen takes the shot, and that one just off the mark, but backed up by Schlomer. As Schlomer's going to bring the ball back in, working on Connell. And here's Reese. Again with the shorty, very quick. Got to watch for that quick double, able to fight through, takes a shot, and a huge save coming from Anderson. Didn't look like he even saw that one, but stayed big, took one in the shoulder, and right back into the break on a rope. Here comes McEnany.
McEnany, the freshman out of RB High, trying to get stuff rolling quickly for the Devils here and back the other way. But you talk about that save from Preston Anderson. That's the first play we've seen him make in net, and he stood his ground. And maybe that's why you see Coach Malone pull starting goalie Brandon Propp and put in Anderson.
Yeah, and that's a textbook positioning save. You know, you stay big, you go to where you think the ball's going to go in with your stick, and you're able to make the save with your body because you're just in great position. Here's Martinick. And Martinick opting to roll the ball over to Logan Quinn here with 90 seconds to go here in the third quarter. We've seen ASU hold on to the ball, and there's Quinn, gets his hands free. Nice look inside to Straker. Straker has his defenseman hung up and scores the dunk goal just over the top. A Chaz Woodson in Watson Sports Center. And that pushes the lead back to 3 at 10-7 in favor of the Sun Devils.
And this game just keeps going back and forth. As soon as Cal pulls it close, you see the Sun Devils start to break away a little again, as it's going to come down to whether or not Schladen can start shutting down everything. And he's gotten all the saves you could ask the guy to get, but at this point, he has to prevent this team from scoring 15-plus goals. I don't see any way that Cal's going to be able to put that up against ASU's defense.
And there's Handy again winning it to himself. You know ASU is going to want to hold the ball and try and get the last shot here. You'd have to think that there's no way they're going to get a 30-second call here with just over a minute to go. Going to move the ball up. Here's Connell. Back to Anderson. And doing a real good job moving the ball up. That's one thing I've been really impressed by is the clearing coming from Arizona State.
Well, and especially considering they did switch out goaltenders, and the rhythm is still there between the defenders and the goalie. And I would say Preston Anderson so far has been nearly flawless.
Dennis free. Straker again getting his man hung up, taking the shot, and another fantastic save between the pipes coming from Schladen.
And you can tell a clear difference from Justin Straker on the right side of the net and the left side of the net. Coming in for the right side, he's put up 2 goals on, I believe, his only 2 shots attempts on that side. And then on the left side, we've seen several misses from him as just shooting a bit too early on those.
What a play from McLeod. Wants to take the shot, gets a stick free, takes the shot, and the goal! And that is a hustle play all on McLeod, coast to coast, long pull, goal. What a play. And you see a play like that, and Cal has got to feed on that. Being down 2 goals, although it doesn't seem like a lot, is very different from being down 3 goals. I mean, you can score 2 real quick ones. And, I mean, you look at what he was able to do there. He picks up the ground ball, spins around the attackman, takes it down through 3 guys, able to get his hands free, brings his stick down low. I mean, what a play. And, you know, I talked about this in the first half, running the wing down at the bottom to try and stop Handy. And then there's the shot. It looks like Schladen able to back that shot up. That's a real hustle play from the goalie. You like to see that.
And a real hustle play at the end of this quarter to prevent ASU from getting the ball back.
And maybe having an opportunity. I mean, I've seen some of the some plays, one against ASU. One of my favorite calls is the Oh My Martin call. And one of probably the most fantastic plays I've ever seen is that scoring a goal with 1 second left on a quick stick. Chris Small to Connor Martin, another one of those LCC Lax Factory guys.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't ever count a team out until that clock hits 0. And right there, just a great hustle from the goalie to ensure ASU couldn't get the ball back. And now, heading into the quarter break, only a 2-goal game. Chris, what are you looking at for Cal to try and complete this comeback?
Well, I mean, Cal's really got to make the most of their scoring opportunities, and right now they've been doing a great job. And here we are joined by League President Matt Holman. And Matt, we have to think that you're excited to see so many teams from the SLC in the top 25.
Yeah, I really am. It's just a testament to the recruiting and the efforts by these coaches. It's been fantastic to be a part of, and we're real proud of our membership.
You know, and what's in the future for the SLC? I know that last season Grand Canyon did some really exciting things at the Division II level and is now moving up to the Division I level. Can we expect to see some more teams in the future of the SLC?
We're constantly working with teams in an incubator kind of process with a few junior college teams. We're the only conference that supports junior college play right now. We're also encouraging and trying to strengthen our Division II teams so they become viable options for Division I. But for the most part, I don't see much movement coming in the next 2 years at a conference level. I think Grand Canyon will probably be the last one to move up.
And
we're talking Fullerton moving up, but they will probably stay where they're at for the next year or two.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to ask you about these new rules. Being the president, what do you think about all of the new rules?
I think they're great for the game. In 34 years of playing and coaching and so forth, I think the game's trying to return to just its pure roots of fast-paced action and fun for the fans, and it's really fun for the players, quite frankly, to have fewer stops, and when the stops happen, it's quickly restarted, as you guys can see. But the rules, they're there to keep the game pure, and I think it's a good thing.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. We're just about ready to get back to the action here in the fourth quarter. That's SLC President Matt Holman.
And the SLC, one of the best conferences in the MCLA, as they sport Chapman, UC Santa Barbara, ASU, all perennial powerhouses in this league.
And another face-off win coming for the Sun Devils. No shortage of that. You'd have to think they're winning probably 3 out of 4 of all the face-offs here today. It's tough to stay in the game as well as Cal has, given that statistic. And this is it. This is the fourth quarter. Still a 2-goal game at 10-8. Still anyone's game. And if you've heard me do any broadcast before, you know that lacrosse is a game of runs. And the team that goes on the last run usually is the team that comes away with the W. Here's Martinick. And again, please send any of your last-minute questions, comments, anything you got. Huge hit. Clean hit, and that's what you like to see. And that ball's going to stay with ASU off of McLeod. But like I said, keep your questions, comments coming. Anything you want to know about these teams, the SLC, the Lacrosse Network, or Trey or myself personally, feel free to fire away. And that's fantastic defensive play coming out of Reese, able to get under the hands of Quinn, who's very dangerous even from that far out. There's Martinick. That one just off the mark, picked up by Straker. Straker inside again, and just like you mentioned, coming around the corner, so dangerous, pushing the lead back to 3 with just under 14 minutes to go in the game, and that's a big goal for Arizona State.
And Justin Straker, just a pure attacker. He's got the mentality of a guy, and right there, he read the miss from Martinick over the top, picked it up, caught the defense off guard when he came up from behind, makes this again a 3-goal difference. And that's Justin Straker's 3rd goal. So this is the 3rd hat trick we've seen on the day so far.
Yeah, and that's really a testament to how opportunistic the players for Arizona State are. I mean, they've had 3 or 4 goals that have just been something that you just score right off of an opportunistic play, picking up the garbage, being able to pick off that shot and come right around the corner and take advantage of the players of the other team not looking for that same play. And that's been the difference in the game so far today. It might be a much different ball game had they not scored some of those garbage goals. And we got a tweet coming from Cameron Neely. Wants to know how your hair looks today.
My hair looks pretty good. I hope so, at least. Glad it's here. I already have a fan base building, interested in my well-being and my looks. It's as red as ever, if that's what he's asking.
Very, very, very red, Trey. Very red. Fitting for a Sun Devil commentator.
Yeah.
Here's Davis coming around the corner up to Dennis. Dennis unloading that one off the helmet. Another save coming from Schladen. He's got to have 15 or more. And there's Davis with another save, reaction save right on the doorstep. That was one of those garbage goals we talked about. An opportunity for Arizona State to pick the ball up and just throw it at the net. And I mean, I grew up playing soccer, and that was one of the things that I always did is shoot whenever I possibly could. Fun fact: until this past season, I was the career leader in shots, but only 12th all time in scoring. So
that's not a good ratio to have, I guess. But the thing is, you're right. Putting shots on net is obviously crucial to scoring, and you got to create those opportunities for yourself by simply being aggressive and realizing that taking shots is the way to score.
And you hear that call from the sideline, and that is exactly what you need to hear. Dennis didn't see the guy coming from behind, and the sideline is yelling at him. And we haven't seen that from Cal yet today, and that's huge.
And that's just a testament to what a great coach Coach Malone is for this ASU team. Has the guys so well disciplined, even when they're not on the field.
Yeah, and these guys want to win, and you have to see that fire on the sideline and field awareness more than anything. Because I know we've seen the quick double coming from ASU, and aside from Cohen, who's been fantastic rolling out of the double, Cal's had a little bit of trouble adjusting. And we go ASU looking to get inside, and Schladen, just a brick wall in the second half especially.
And a great attempt there from Zach Scarano, and hit, I believe, his first shot of the day, and coming up empty, but you can't blame him. It's Schladen controlling the goal, and you know, something to be said is that to be a great team, you've got to have a great goaltender, and Schladen has been proving that he's got to be in the discussion.
Yeah, he's got to be on the early All-American watch list for sure, just from what we've seen today. Here's Hayden, and again, any kind of last-minute tweet you got, feel free to send them my way at CMarshallTLN. Questions for Trey, questions for myself, anything you'd like to know. Feel free at CMarshallTLN. And there's another quick double coming from ASU. Here's Cohen. Nice look inside, and there's the shot. That one coming from Clem, eaten up by Anderson. Got to get a little bit more on that. Looked like he might have gotten lifted a little bit coming through. 10 minutes to go in the game. Dennis on the break. Here's Davis. And McLeod not giving anything. It's like ASU wanting to sub to the midfielder, get their offensive unit on their first line. And Quinn's working on Reese, the shorty. Look for the quick double. Look inside. Straker again almost getting his defenseman hung up. And Davis, what a goal! He's got McLeod all over his hands, able to get the shot off very quickly. Inside, bounce shot, low to high from about 4 yards. Very, very difficult shot to save.
To be honest, I was more impressed with the pass inside right there. Justin Straker saw his man. Dan Davis was waiting there for it, able to come up with that reception somehow, despite having a guy riding his back, and then came up with the goal. And Straker right there coming up with the assist, proving that he's not just a goal scorer. Last year, he was the second leading goal scorer on this team. Didn't finish so high in points, though, and a lot of that was because he was that score-first player. But every team needs that role player. Now, trying to adjust a bit and become a passer as well.
Yeah, and that's a big win for Cal. They really need to score a goal on this possession. Here's Schlomer. Up to Cohen. And ASU opting to mix up the matchups a little bit. Connell's been working on Cohen all day. Opting to go with Mendoza. Maybe got a little bit better pace than Connell. Work on Cohen, who's been a real facilitator for the Golden Bears. Schlomer has been paired up with Little all day. And up to Hayden. You have to think they want to go to Hayden, who has had the hot hand for the Bears all day. And nice job of rolling out of that double. Must be listening to the broadcast. Can't quite come up with it. And here's Gutierrez, able to move the ball up to Clark. Clark's got a one-on-one. able to get by his man, and what a trail check. That's a goal-saving trail check coming from Sunkson.
And maybe a game-saving trail check. ASU trying to keep the ball rolling on this. That would make it a 13-8 game, and a breakup right there is huge for this Cal defense.
And that's an unfortunate play. Looks like nobody wanted that one. It looked like it might have been headed for Hafinga, but Sunkson unable to chase the ball down.
Definitely an overthrown pass right there. And errant plays, as we said earlier, can always come back to bite you. And right now Cal has to be thinking about all the turnovers, not forced turnovers, unforced turnovers that ASU's defense has had nothing to do with, and it's just been Cal shooting themselves in the foot.
Oh, and there you have it. Same thing from ASU. I mean, that's an overthrow from Clark, which you almost never see. Clark steadies a rock, senior captain. Not the flashiest player, but definitely a guy you can count on to make the everyday plays. And if there's any gripe that I've got with Schladen's game, it's with the ball on his stick. If he can improve with the ball on his stick, and it costs them another goal, this one coming from Straker, and that one's really starting to put this game into the conversation of out of reach with just under 8 minutes to go, pushing the lead to 5, the largest of the game. And he's got to do a better job of getting rid of the ball. He had Hafinga wide open. Not sure why he didn't pull the trigger in the middle of the field, but that's the one part of his game that he's really got to improve on if he wants to be a top-level goalie in the MCLA.
Well, in that situation, I think it was that 5-second grace period not being there anymore, that adjustment that you got to make. You have to understand, once you leave, once you head for the ball as a goalie, you're going to be a fielder. You're going to be facing tons of pressure. And he didn't expect to see it as soon as he did right there. And quick turnover, he was unable to recover in time, and Straker took advantage of it as you knew he would.
Yeah, and that's another one of those goals that I talked about earlier. I mean, you pick up the garbage, you ride hard, you score on the empty net, and I mean that's what you got to do. And here's a question coming from Will Hasselbean. Wants to know if I think ASU will have a better season than they did last year. And like I said, I think they're one of the five or so teams that I'm picking that has a legitimate shot to win the national championship. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think they made it to the quarterfinals.
Actually, they made it to the semifinals last year before losing to Cal Poly. So there's definitely this chance. And the thing is, this team has so much experience making back-to-back-to-back semifinals in the MCLA. Right. But at this point, it's about winning a championship. It's championship or bust for this ASU team. You do not want to be going home with another Final Four appearance or with another championship loss. You want to see, the big game won.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the over/under is the quarterfinals, I'm going to take the over. I mean, I expect to see them in at least the semifinals this season. I would be surprised to see them fall in the first round of the tournament. I think they're a lock for to go to South Carolina.
Well, and to answer the question, in earnest, is the goalie's play going to be at the level of Dylan Westfall? If so, I believe the fielders have improved with the experience and with the additions. There's a lot of freshmen on this team. There's 18 newcomers in total on this ASU roster, and with that youth, not to mention, as we said, the face-off advantage.
And another big win for Reese. And that's a fantastic handle from Schlomer. Looked like he had Cohen right on the near post, but running the textbook break. You can't fault him for that. He runs it exactly how you do in practice, but it looked like Cohen might have had the good look there.
At this point, starting to wonder when Cal's going to feel this is desperation time, going to start getting things going. And you're right, Chris, you say that lacrosse is a game of runs, and it's about developing that run when it matters the most. But at this point, down 5 goals, you got to think about scoring fast.
Yeah, and I mean you have to at least take a shot in the break. And here's back up to McNaughton, and that one just misses the player they're going for. And I don't like that call, picking that ball up. That was an errant throw that would have gone to Arizona State. Maybe a little bit of the inexperience for Eli Miller, who didn't play at all last season, or very little, to not just let that ball go out of bounds. But no harm, no foul there, as Arizona State able to get the ball back and go right back into that break as Hillier brings the ball up the field. Here's Straker.
And I would be surprised if ASU started to play a stalling game here. You know they're still going to keep the Jets hot. It's a style they play. They thrive off of it. And I wouldn't be surprised to see ASU continuing to keep shots on net.
And here's Ebner making one of his first appearances of the game. A lot of trust in the in the freshman coming from Coach Malone. Here's Wells. Wells working on the shorty, gets his hand free. Another great trail check coming from the Golden Bears, who've done a really good job of staying with their players even after they get beat.
Just look at the hustle on that ground ball right there. ASU able to hold on to possession. I saw 3 Sun Devils chasing after that ball, only 1 Bear. And that's just a difference in conditioning as we were talking about all game long.
Oh, and almost a really great play there coming from Wells. The pass was behind him, almost got it with one hand, choked way up. Ground ball picked up, this one by Baum, trying to make something happen. And again on the ride. What a play to keep that ball in. And you'd have to think that Hayden probably should have picked that ball up. Cohen finally able to get the ball. 5:30 to go. Let's see which way this call goes. It's going against the Golden Bears. Not sure I saw what they were calling there. Might have been an off-ball push. Either way, ball staying with the Sun Devils.
So time just counting down. The clock is working against Cal for sure right now, as ASU at this point seems to be starting to slow things up, seeing the victory in reach. It's a 5-goal game right now. The only thing that can hurt you is yourself if you're ASU. Got to just keep solid possessions going and no unforced turnovers, consistent passing, and you should be good running off a good chunk of clock on every possession.
And this might be one of those times where you're going to see that 30-second countdown clock. Here's Martinick. Martinick getting free. Wants his right, looking inside for Davis. Can't quite find him. Pretty ambitious pass. Real heads-up play coming from the Golden Bear defenseman. Getting the ball back. And Cohen fighting for the ball. Trying to kick it to himself. Stepped on by Mendoza. Cohen finally able to flip it out, using his body. Trying to get the ball loose. And just too much hustle coming from Arizona State as they're sending all of their guys for that ground ball. And that's really the difference.
Well, and I don't even know if it's sending their guys. It's just having the energy to go after these ground balls even this late in the game. And as we talked about, Coach Malone prides himself and his team on the conditioning they have, the ability to continue chasing after those ground balls, even with only minutes left on the clock.
4 minutes to go. Clark gets inside and scores another goal, and you can tell these Bears defenders are just tired. They hung, and they did a great job of staying in the game, but really kind of being overtaken right now by the size and conditioning of the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Payson Clark, Justin Straker, both have recorded 4 goals so far in this game, and that's amounting for 8 of 14 goals from 2 guys, and definitely huge contributors in this offense. And when you have 2 attackers playing as well as those 2 have been today, it's hard as a defense to respond. And you're right, when they're tired, worn down, are the Cal Golden Bears. And trying to respond is never easy. Now a 6-goal game. Chris, at this point, are you just playing for pride if you're Cal?
Well, I mean, you can't give up, and there's Handy wins it to himself. It looks like he wants to take the shot. Takes the shot, and that one just off the mark. I know Handy's been working on his shot a lot this offseason, really wanting to make an impact on the offensive side, aside from what he can do. And what a save! He just keeps them coming. Unbelievable. But like I was saying, and there's a big hit coming from Cal. Certainly not giving up. And looks like Coach Malone able to get the timeout. It's a good time to take a couple of these final tweets. It's another shout-out to the LCC alums from Andrew Hayden, going for Sean Hayden and Sunkston from Ann Arbor, Michigan. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the tweet. Always appreciate people tuning in. And also a question from Anthony Cesario. Wants to know if I only wear bow ties from Vineyard Vines, and wants to know the next time I'm going to be in South Florida. And right now the answer is yes. But if you make bow ties and you want to send me some, I'd be happy to wear them. So send me a tweet at C. Marshall TLN, always looking for new sponsors. So if you make cooler bow ties, definitely give me a shout. But as always, we're more than happy to be out here. I mean, it's a fantastic day for lacrosse. Get a really great game. Happy to bring this game to you live on the Lacrosse Network. And we're always happy to hear any kind of feedback. So whatever we can do to make this broadcast better for you as a viewer and a fan, please do not hesitate to let us know. Tweet at me at CMarshallTLN. Tweet at us at the Lacrosse Network. Tweet at Trey. Let him know. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your viewership. And just about ready to get back to the action here. 3 minutes, 32 seconds to go. Still a shot for Cal if they can get a couple quick ones. But they need to get the ball now.
They've got to have possession.
Urgency.
In other words,
yes. And he's just runs right out of bounds, and that is not something you expect to see. And they're going to draw the flag. This is a big opportunity for Cal if they can get the ball on their offensive side of the field. And it's able to pick it up. There's McLeod, who's got a lot of speed, able to get the ball up to Baum. Baum's got to get going, and he does. Got to stay in the box. He looks like he's got a lane. And that is just not the kind of lacrosse play you need. You got to be aware of what's going on the field. There's a flag down. You have the opportunity to get a shot off, a free shot, and you have to take advantage. The coaching staff on the Golden Bear sideline cannot be happy about that. They're going to get the extra man opportunity, but they could have had a free shot there. It's not very different from when there's an offside call in football and you have a free pass. You got to have better field awareness if you're Baum.
And then if you look back to the play that set it all up, A.J. Schaffner just waltzed out of bounds for ASU. A crucial mistake. And yes, it's a 6-goal differential, but like you said, Chris, these games aren't over till they're over. And A.J. Schaffner right there puts ASU in a tough position. Now they got to start playing defense and make sure that Cal can't put a drive forward rather than killing off a good chunk of clock. And you could tell Schaffner is frustrated. He was attacking the player with trying to recover the ball after he turned it over, but it was too late, and you saw Baum's head back the other way.
And that's a testament to his character as a player. You make a mistake that's, it's a dumb mistake, and but you don't give up on the play, and you're in there riding hard. And you knock the ball out of McLeod's stick, and you're fighting to get that ball back, and that's what you like to see. You never want to see a guy hang his head if he makes a mistake. You want to see him go back out there and try and get that ball back. And just under 3 minutes to go, actually just now 3 minutes to go for the Golden Bears, still down 5. Trying to get back into this game. Nice look, can't quite get the shot off. But here's Cohen, and Cohen wants the rip, draws the double, moves it. There's the shot, and that one just off the mark. The sidearm rip coming from Leggett as Cal maintains possession with 2:47 to go in the game. And one of the things you have to think about is even if Cal doesn't come back to win this game, they're going to want to keep this game close so that they can maintain a solid ranking, because it's never too early to start thinking about the postseason.
Yeah, and definitely against the number 2 team in the country, you want to show you could hold your own. So chipping away at that lead and making a final score look better than it may be as a full-length clear right there.
That one coming from Captain John Little, and you almost never see him make a mistake like that. Here, 2:20 to go in the game. And that's Clem bringing the ball in for the Golden Bears. 2:10, and there has to be more urgency coming from Cal right now.
I agree. I'm surprised not to see more hustle, more quickness, but as you said, I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that this team is tired.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a smaller squad, and ASU's in better shape. But this is an early season game. I mean, the season isn't decided in February. I can tell you that much. And Cal will come back and play strong like they did all season. I know they won some big games at the end of last season, as Cohen unable to keep his stick protected enough as another trail check, but still hustling to try and get that ball back, but virtually flawless clear as 90 seconds are left in the game for Arizona State. And they're going to have to keep it in the box here as they have the lead with under 2 minutes to go. Schaffner Gets it to Wells. Minute 10 seconds to go.
And Chris, Cal has not scored in a while. Remember back when it was 10-8 and Cal was getting back in this game. And since then, it's just been a 4-0 run for ASU. And not in a quick stretch. Very long, prolonged stretch of goals for ASU that just set up by solid defense in stopping Cal.
And that's a great poke check. But Clark able to get by. Nice look across. Can't quite find him. And the ball's going to go back to Cal. Oh, sorry. No call on that one. Got to regroup on the rules myself, I guess. But ball staying with Arizona State.
May have been tipped by a Cal defender.
There's two sets of lines out there, too. Not sure what the call was on that one, but if you know, definitely feel free to shoot a tweet my way. And it looks like Coach Malone wants to talk it over here with 23 seconds to go. And I think that should just about do it for this game. Probably put the ball in Clark's stick. Let him hold it for the rest of the game. And it looks like the Arizona Sun Devils are going to come away with their first victory of the season.
Yeah, and this team definitely happy to be starting 1-0. And ASU has been plagued a little in the past few seasons by slow starts to a season. But now it seems like they're trying to turn the new page on that. And it's interesting. I talked with Coach Malone about the fact that there are no Westfalls on this team. And he said it's actually kind of a relief. It's turning a new page. There's no longer that cloud of hanging over the rest of the players, like you're not as significant as a Westfall brother might be. And it's a chance for a new regime to step up for ASU. And they've got playmakers. They've got athletes on the field. These guys are trying now to finally make that championship run and finish it.
Yeah, and I know I haven't had a chance to talk to Coach Hartley about it, but it's got to be a similar situation to what's going on with the Claytons. I mean, this is the first season since 2006 where there isn't a Clayton suiting up for Chapman. So definitely two SLC teams looking to maintain their spots as one of the top teams in the country without some of their more well-known namesakes. And 23 seconds to go here in the game. This one all but wrapped up with a bow for the Sun Devils.
And even if Cal is going to go down in this one with a 6-goal loss, you got to look at this goaltender and say to yourself, he's going to be in some discussion at the end of the year with how well he's played in this game. Remember, he also held Santa Barbara to only 9 goals in that game. That's one of the top teams in the country. So Schladen clearly playing pretty well to start out the year.
10 seconds to go. Yeah, no, and if he can tighten up his play out of the cage, then he has all the tools to be one of the best goalies in the country. Here's Cohen. And that's going to do it for the game. And ASU comes away with the victory on, a game that was closer than the score. Some of the top performers from ASU, a couple guys with 4 goals. So definitely, it looks like Straker had 4 or 5. 4, and Payson Clark had 4. So definitely some solid play out of the guys you expect to see playing well for the Sun Devils. Cal definitely has some work to do, but has all the tools to be one of those top 15 and come back to the tournament again this season. So I'm excited to see these teams play. I'm happy I had the opportunity to work on the broadcast with you, Trey.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Please feel free to send us your comments, questions. Even after the game, we'll be happy to answer anything you've got, both at the Lacrosse Network Twitter and at my own Twitter, at CMarshallTLN, and also at Trey's Twitter.
At Trey Lanthier.
At Trey Lanthier. And as always, thanks for tuning in and watching the Lacrosse Network. I'm here with Trey Lanthier. I'm Chris Marshall, and as always, stay laxy.